Hi everyone, Simona Rich here, and today's video is called Master Body Language, and in this video I'll mainly talk about hand gestures. When you learn the meanings of these particular gestures, you will understand people better because you will be able to understand the unconscious language that people use to communicate with you. So you will know when the person gets bored, when he or she is interested in you, or when they are disagreeing with you, and you will understand many more responses that otherwise you wouldn't be aware of. So firstly, I will show you a picture of a person with some gesture, and I will give you some time to guess what that gesture means. You can also pause this video if you need more time to decide what it means. This way you will be able to check how good you are at guessing the meanings of gestures. And after a short pause, I will tell you what that particular gesture means. Also, you should know that gesture shouldn't be interpreted alone. What I mean by that is that you should take into consideration other factors such as environment or the situation the person is in. If, for example, you see a person with crossed arms, it doesn't necessarily mean that that person is defensive, negative, or insecure in some way. It could just mean that the person is cold and that's why their arms are crossed. You should also try to interpret gestures in clusters so that you would be more accurate as to what they mean. For example, when you see a person with folded arms and crossed legs, then it almost always means that that person has a negative attitude or feels insecure. So let's start with easy ones. What do you think this gesture means? If you think that this means that the child has just told a lie, you're right. Okay, here's another one. This gesture also means that the person has just told a lie. I couldn't find a picture to illustrate another gesture indicating a lie, which most people know about. It's when the person only slightly touches his nose. When the person scratches his nose, then that means that his nose is itchy, but if he only slightly touches his nose when talking, then it almost always means that that person has just told a lie. Open palms means that the person is being honest. Some people might use open palms intentionally, but they will still be caught because of the incongruence with the rest of the body language. This is a very different palm position to the previous one, and the more palm turns towards the ground, the more controlling the person tries to be. If the palm is closed into a fist and the pointed finger, it's an aggressive expression, and it shows that the speaker wants to be in control and tries to prove his point. This is a classic boredom example, and almost everyone can understand this gesture. Now I'm going to show you 3 types of handshakes and see if you can tell the difference between them. So here's the first one, the second one, and the third one. Okay, so the first one is an equal handshake because both people try to keep their hands in the same position. The second one is a controlling handshake because one person turned his palm towards the ground when giving the handshake. The third one is a submissive handshake because one person turned his palm up when giving the handshake. This gesture is different from the previous pictures of handshakes because you can see that the person is holding another person's wrist. This means that they are probably friends, and the person who holds another person's wrist has something important or personal to talk about. You can also see this gesture often in politics, but it's usually faked because politicians want to appear honest and familiar to the public. Politicians, when talking to the members of the public, like to hold their hands this way to give the impression that they are very friendly and approachable. The higher the person grasps your arm when giving you a handshake, the more important or personal matter they want to talk about. When the person leans against something, be it the office doorway, car, or something other that is material, it shows that they show others that that object is theirs and that they are proud of it. This is a very deceptive gesture because most people misinterpret it. It looks quite neutral, and the person might even interpret it as a sign of honesty, but it actually means that the person is frustrated and that he is holding back negative attitude. The higher the hands are clenched together, the worse the mood the person is in. This is probably the only gesture that can be interpreted without looking at the situation or other gestures. It means that the person knows what he is talking about, and it shows high intellect. When the hands are steepling up, it shows that the person is giving his opinions, and when the hands are steepling down, it means that the person is listening. This is a very negative gesture that should be avoided if possible. It shows that the person thinks that he knows more than people he is talking to, and it also shows arrogant attitude. This is a good gesture, and it means that the person is very confident, and it can also indicate that she feels that she is superior to the people she is talking to. Here's another gesture that is very similar to the one I've just shown you, but has a completely different meaning. I couldn't find a more suitable picture for that, but here you can see the boy who is gripping his wrist, and that means that he is frustrated, and the higher the person grips his arm, the more frustrated or angry he is. When only thumbs are visible from the pockets, it means that the person is trying to hide his controlling attitude, but this gesture also shows that the person is confident. This is a defensive and negative attitude because crossed arms show insecurity, defensiveness, or rejection, and the visible thumbs show aggressive and dominant attitude. So if you're talking to someone and you see them sitting like that, it means that the person is disagreeing with what you say, and they are either angry at you or want to be in control of the situation. The eye rub means that the person tries to avoid seeing the face of the person he lies to. Women usually just slightly touch the area below their eyes because they don't want to smudge their makeup. Ear rub means that the person doesn't like what he's hearing. This gesture means that the person is lying or is angry or frustrated about something. This gesture shows that the person is not sure about something. So if you see this gesture while pitching your product or explaining your idea, you need to give extra reassurance to such person. When a person has a pen or a glass temple in his mouth, that also means that the person seeks reassurance and is trying to win the time to make the decision. For this gesture, I couldn't find the right picture, but this is the closest I could find. If the hand is closed and is resting on the cheek, often with the index finger pointing upwards, that means that this person is making a decision. Now this is a similar gesture to the one I've just shown, but here the hand is nearer to the mouth and the thumb is supporting the chin, which means that the person has negative thoughts about what you're saying, and she's also showing her critical attitude. Chin stroking means that the listener is making a decision. If you watch Dragon's Den, you will know the person in this picture. It's James Caan, and he's almost famous for this gesture because he always makes decisions by firstly stroking his chin. And here's the gesture that is a bit different but has exactly the same meaning, which is that the person is making a decision. This gesture is called partial arm barrier, and it basically means that the person feels insecure. In this picture you can also see a very slight partial arm barrier, and here you can see another type of arm barrier. When the person is holding something with both hands that could be held by one hand, that means that this person feels insecure. You can see this often in social gatherings, when women hold handbags with both hands, or when people hold their drinks with both hands. That shows that they feel insecure. When the man is adjusting cufflinks, this also shows insecurity or nervousness. If you're a man and you approach a group of smoking women and some or one of them is smoking with wrist turned at you, that means that she likes you. And if you're talking to someone who is married and you ask something about their marriage and you see them starting to slip the wedding ring on and off the finger, that means that they have marriage problems. There are many more hand gestures I haven't shown you, but these are the most widely used ones. I hope that now you will be able to understand people better and your conversation skills will improve because you will know which gestures are good and which ones are better to avoid. Thank you for watching this video.